Okay. I'll just turn my phone off. There we go. So the lovely Lisa Lashes.
How's it going?
How you doing? You all right?
All right, it's 9:30 in the morning here. What time is it over in Australia?
It's 6:30 here.
Okay, that's cool then.
Yeah, so not
Cool.
too bad. Yeah.
Quickly got my glad rags on for you. A little bit under the weather, little bit sweaty, but I'll do all right. We're doing all right.
So we had the tidy weekend of this weekend.
So I played in Chester on the Friday, and then Sunday was Great Yarmouth at Tidy Weekender.
Wow.
Brand new place there, which is the I think it's the Vauxhall site, whatever. So they're 5-star caravans, amazing setup, food and everything. So people were very, very happy this year. And of course, we had a bit of good weather. So there was lots of outdoor parties, I believe, keeping everyone up all night.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's kind of nice that the you know, the crowd, I mean, we've all got older, obviously, but you know, like as you get a bit older, you want something a bit more refined. So
Yes.
maybe it used to be like 10 code, didn't it? And it was in
It used to be terrible, didn't it? But we didn't miss anything because that was just as it is. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, if you've got, like, you know, the 5-star accommodation and stuff, I think people respect it a little bit more as well. You know, it's kind of nice and got, you know, good facilities and stuff. So yeah, I haven't heard any bad kind of reports or anything. You know, it's all been like 100% really. And I don't think there was any casualties as such at the moment. So that's cool.
Yeah, well, that's always good news. Yeah. So obviously we'd not seen each other in years, but then we caught up in September when I was back for Insomniacs, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of not a shock to see you because I knew you were playing, but like I remember sort of back in the day, like when you turned up at a club, it wasn't for me. I used to, you know, drive, get out of the car, walk into the club. But when you came to the club, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like that, was it?
What did I do? Had an entourage and stuff.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, there was like a whole security team to, you know, sort of keep people.
Yeah, I used to say to my friends that they kind of like helped me with my career because when, you know, we used to have 2 or 3 carloads of my friends, mainly girlfriends, and we just used to rock up and kind of like cause a big party. As you know, we were there till the end of the night, sort of like with the cleaners, like, well, you need to go now. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, girls, let's go. Girls and gays, I used to call it. So remember Neil Appeal, he's always with us. So
yeah,
girls.
And I mean, when did you? I mean, I honestly don't even know the answer to this. Like, when did you start out? Because obviously you were, you know, you were Lisa Lashes when I sort of became Paul Glazby, you know, but that was in 2000. And I mean, the Tidy Girls EP came out early 99, if I remember right.
Yeah. So I started sort of like, well, it'll be 30 years in the industry next year. So
Jesus.
yeah, I know. It's still going. That's why my hair's green. Do you know what I mean? Not grey, just green. So yeah, 30 years. So 96, I started, and it was really quick for me, really. It was definitely luck on my side, in the right place at the right time kind of scenario. I mean, I hadn't even started, I didn't really know anything about the decks. My friend who was sort of dating my girlfriend at the house that we lived in, he brought his decks around because his mum was like, it's too noisy, get rid of them, do you know, that kind of thing. So we set it up in the dining room. I wasn't really allowed to touch them, you know, I could clean them and stuff like that, but, you know, it was like an expensive piece of equipment, do you know what I mean? The boys would be like, don't be touching anything. So secretly, when I worked at Marks and Spencer's, because that's where it all started, left school, went to Marks and Spencer's, I used to come at lunchtime back on the bus to go back to the house and secretly go on the decks when my friends work. And I used to pay £1 for a shop in Nuneaton where you could go and swap your vinyl kind of thing. So I used to pay £1 for, and then they swap it the following week after I played it at Sundissential and stuff like that. So it was within a matter of like, I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks. I was playing at a boat party. And then Madders was there, as we know Madders from Sundissential, the infamous Madders.
Madders.
Yeah, we all know Manners. So I think I played the absolute worst set I've ever played. Anyway, I was on a barge and we were bumping around. The needles were just going, but I think he wasn't really looking at that. He was like, oh, I think we need a resident DJ. We're looking for a female, and yeah, he started doing little parties before he had the Sundissential. But yeah, I can all credit to him, kind of in a way, to bring me into the big space where, in a matter of months, I was kind of like taking off Paul Oakenfold, Judge Jules, Tall Paul and people like that, literally shitting myself, obviously. Like, oh my God. Like, and Sundissential was you've obviously played there. Did you? You played at Sundissential? Yeah, of course. So, it was just the best experience to, you can play whatever you wanted, really. Well, as long as it was hard. Otherwise, they'd sit down on the dance floor and boo you, didn't they? So yeah, I mean, it was a very quick turnaround for me, and I'm like, it went from strength to strength to strength. Really, had a great agency, Mixmag associated agency called Centro, and they took me all over the world. And then I had a few agents after that. So yeah, still here as well.
Well, I mean, that's but hearing you say that, like, really matters for you was like Tom from Insomniacs for me.
Oh, wicked! I love that.
Like he was the one that just said, right, I'm going to put you on. Gave me the last set on the January 2000. It was. So it was the last Sunday of January 2000. And he said, you're on last set. Play the last 2 hours. And I got there. Half the club left 10 minutes into my set. But because back then, Insomniacs was like an extension of Gatecrasher.
Yes.
The guys that Tom used to run it with, they just wanted it to be like Gatecrasher, but Tom wanted it to be harder. So he brought me in. But obviously half the people didn't like that, but the half that were left started going crazy. So then Tom's like, well, we're onto something here. And then invited me back every week. And then literally, by the end of that year, I'd started Vicious Circle. So I went from obscurity to Vicious Circle in 11 months, really.
Wow. It is quick turnaround. It goes so fast, sort of like that.
Yeah.
And all the opportunities start coming at you, and you just make yourself available for everything. And it's
that's exactly right. You've got to be there. I was talking to who was I talking to the other day? They were saying about like when opportunity presents itself, not passing it up, because it was technical, Alf Bamford.
Yes.
And he was saying, like, if he'd not done that, would it have come around again? I said, probably not. I said, you've got to grab it when it's there and make the most of it, which obviously you did and I did and he has as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are downsides sometimes to just being so available in the music industry, because you don't, and I mean, I'm 100% grateful for my career and stuff, but I suppose it's sort of like the family parties or weddings and things like that, you just can't go to them. And sometimes now I don't get invited to things because they think I'm playing or, too busy or something. But people don't understand that if you're, it's my mum's sort of like 60th or 70th or whatever, and I couldn't go. And it was like, because I was actually over in Australia. But people don't realize that you booked so far ahead, you can't just then cancel something. And, not name dropping, but I was talking to Carl Cox about it. He said, when you're in the music business and you're a DJ, you are married to the music and there's nothing else that comes first. And even though it's harsh, it's true. You do have to do that. Not so much now. I can make choices now. But when you're starting a career, you literally have to say yes and be at the forefront of everything that you can do with your agents and stuff. So it's like that, really. It can be.
I mean, the other thing as well is there's only so many Fridays and Saturdays in a year. So if you're not doing gigs on a weekend because you are going to a family thing, or then it's not like we don't get holiday pay. We don't get it's not, we're not doing a Monday to Friday like most people are. So you've got to make the most of it and then there's always the times where where gigs get cancelled on you.
Yeah.
That, I mean, not very often, and usually you've got a deposit or whatever, but there is that element of, especially when you signed to Most Wanted, like we were for a while, where gigs were just getting cancelled. They were just, I don't think the gigs were ever in, but we'd get a call on the Wednesday, it's been cancelled this week. And anyway.
And there's nothing you can do about it, is there? And
because you
happens, isn't it? Yeah.
Sorry?
It's hard when that happens, because you know, people just think you turn up with your box, you put away on a you know, on a Monday to Friday, and then you come out on a, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and play.
Yeah.
It's not even like that. You're in the studio in the week, you're prepping for your shows and stuff like that, and that's your whole focus for the week. So
Exactly, yeah.
to do that. So when there is a cancellation, it's quite saddening, isn't it? Because you're sort of like, oh shit, for one, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
This is my life. What do I do tonight? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a world that is still kind of, you know, there is cancellations. There's anything could go on, and there isn't anything that you could do about it, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the original Tidy Girls EP back in '99. So who did you do your track with?
So I did mine with Amadeus and Paul James.
Ah, right, okay, right.
So we're all in the studio up in Rotherham, I think it was. Yeah,
Rotherham,
yeah. Many
I did a lot. I did loads of my stuff with Paul Maddox in that studio. Yeah.
And they were so young. I remember like Ingo was like 16 when me and Anne and I went in with him, and he was sort of like all red faced and like scared because two girls. Yeah. I think we went up there and both kissed him on the cheek just to know. He was like all red and stuff like. But
is that when he was still doing it in his bedroom?
Yes, yeah. We went over to his house over in Lincoln.
Yeah, that's because so Kick It, the first Dream, that Kaiser Soze Somnium, that Dreams remix that I did, that was in Ingo's. There's a few things that definitely those two. And his mum used to come in with the biscuits and the tea and stuff.
I love his mum. In fact, we opened the door and found her dancing outside before. Like she just like got our little sandwiches out for us, knocked on the door, and then she's there dancing outside. She's like, "Oh, I like this one." And now, he's doing amazing now because he's doing Ibiza, the star player, isn't he? Have you heard of what?
I don't know. To be honest, I mean, I don't. My finger's not on the pulse. Let's put it that way.
He's got a villa over in Ibiza where he brings everybody in that's on the island to collaborate, like singers and you know, musicians, live musicians and producers and stuff. So he's just basically doing a massive collaboration thing in the villa. So just checked out Fergie's over there today, so that should be fun. Some good stuff coming out of there. Yeah,
but it's crazy because like it's Paul Maddox, Ben Stevens, and then obviously Ingo. I mean, I've not seen Ingo in years, but I still think of them, and I said it to them when they came on the podcast. Like, I still think of them being like 22, 23. Like they're all in the 40s now. You know, like I'd have a heart attack if I saw Ingo now because, like I said, he would have been 20, probably 22 last time I saw him.
Yeah, he was like 16, 17 when we first went in there.
Exactly.
I was. It was my birthday last week, so I was 54. Can you believe it?
Wow.
54 years old. Like, whatever. It's all good. I think the music keeps you young, though. As long as you're out, you know, kind of like, I think it's the best job in the world. You know, for the reasons being music can, you know, change your life, really. It gets you introduced to everyone in the world. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the world. It's kind of like, it's a universal language as well, isn't it, for everyone? So, everyone's keeping young. Thank you.
Well, I remember having a chat with, who were the Good Grief guys? There was Barry, and who was the other one?
Barry and Ben.
Ben. Yeah. And I was
fire.
chatting to him. God, I mean, this would be years ago, but he was just saying how crazy is it that this particular style of music, like hard house, has given me a job and you, well, like not just a job, a career for you. And you know, they were obviously doing really well with Good Grief and all these, you know, and then the agents and just all these different people that have got careers just based around this style of music. It's
massive. And we seem to be, you know, sort of like, especially the girls in Hard House, they've not moved genre at all. They've stuck straight to it, you know, and still battling now, kind of like being amazing, headlining everywhere and stuff. I think it's even though we were, I know when I played at God's Kitchen, they used to call it the bastard child of dance music. I was like, we are so not the bastard child of dance music, but so many people have come from that, you know. I've met many sort of like house DJs and tech DJs all over the world who have said, reading stuff from about you and Mixmag and the hard house scene and stuff, they got into music, and then they decided to go off in different routes. But we were kind of like big time, really, which we didn't really know about that back in the day. But yeah, we championed quite a few.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're definitely right. And I think there's you and I are in a very, very niche group of people,
Yeah,
being hard house DJs that made it into the Mixmag top 100. You would have been in there loads of times, but I got in 2 years. I think I did 89 and then
yeah,
81, and then I was gone. But there's
yeah.
not many hard house DJs that made it into the top 100. And I know, like I said, you did Tidy Boys,
Fergie did, but yeah,
Fergie, yeah, I guess he sort of transcends harder, but you know, like what you would class as pure hard house DJs. But you've done other stuff, haven't you?
So I've done techno. So
Yeah.
I've done tracks for Carl Cox's label in tech. Yeah, I did a year, I think, of hard house, kind of like I was feeling that it wasn't kind of where I wanted to be at that time. I'd been in the industry sort of like 17, 18 years. And I think the clubs were starting to get a little bit, I don't know, something happened in the process of like the hard house being so massive and then kind of coming down a little bit. And nothing was changing. And I was getting a little bit kind of bored of it, I suppose. So I tried my hand at trance. I did some psytrance, house, some techno, and then back to hard house, which is my love, really. I can't, it is my favorite, you know, it definitely is. Even though I like techno for going out, I'll go out to Amsterdam and go to some big techno events and stuff, but I love playing hard house. I just love the energy from it. I mean, on Sunday, Tiny Weekend to Sunday, they've been raving since, they've probably got there Thursday. Friday, they've been raving, Saturday, Sunday. And they're just off the scale on Sunday night, still running around like crazy people, you know, and dancing. And it was absolutely packed in there. So yeah, I love the energy that hard house brings. It's an absolutely amazing family that it brings. That's what I think.
Yeah, I had Dave the drummer on last week,
Okay.
and but I was saying to him, I always like on reflect, not at the time, but like on reflection, I should have probably been a techno DJ just because of my, you know, like
Yes.
I didn't like looking up at people, or I just wanted to do what I was doing, you know, like
Yeah.
I've probably been more suited to techno. But by the time, because I always liked the techno, especially
Well,
that hard.
quite hard techno beats in your tracks. Vicious Circle is like big rumbling kind of techie.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So it wasn't too much of a departure, but because like I'd got to the point where I'd got the gyms and I was doing the personal training and then, you know, to try and then offshoot and do techno as well as, you know, it wasn't the right. But that's one thing I wish I had of sort of, you know, I know Farley's had a bit of success with it and obviously you, but yeah, it's probably too late now.
It's never too late to do
Never
something.
too late, no.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about the techno scene, I mean, there's a little coalition going on between trance and techno and stuff that's like Armin van Buuren is playing back to back with Adam Beyer, which is, for me, I'm like, wow, okay, that's different, you know, because that's like techno, underground techno into sort of like the, you know, the commercially trance kind of stuff. But yeah, maybe it works, maybe it don't. I don't know.
Well, again, like I said, I really don't have my finger on the pulse. It's been enlightening for me these last few weeks, you know, doing the podcast and having a lot of my old friends on and sort of learning what is happening in the scene. Because Alf he actually told me ages ago when we were on a boat party about this big DJ now, Patrick Topping, was playing Hostile. But he's playing that amongst, you know, like I would turn up and I would just play, well, like a Glazby set, and you would play hard house, but apparently these new DJs are kind of mixing it up a lot more in the sets, which doesn't seem right to me. But what do I know? You know, I'm just one of the old guys now.
No, Patrick Topping, I think he started with hard house, and now he's like he's tech kind of DJs now as well. So, but you can definitely hear some connotations of hard house in his sets as well, sort of like the riffs and stuff that he uses. So it makes it
right.
stuff. So absolutely. And the same with Hannah Lang. Have you heard of Hannah Lang from Scotland? So I think she's about 20 something years old. She's absolutely smashing it. Got a residency now. Doof in I think it's at Amnesia, is it, in Ibiza? So she's bringing all the younger hard house crew through. She did quite a few Radio 1 shows, so and played like all of the old, like Unbelievable, some of your stuff, Looking Good, and then I just see on my Instagram go, I'm like, who's talking about me? What's going on? Which is all good, and it keeps the scene relevant and new as well, you know, because we are a little bit older, and you know, whenever. How long have we got? We don't know. But if we then mix it up with the younger kids as such, then, you know, you can stay relevant.
Yeah. There's hope for us yet, Lisa.
Definitely, yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the night. So I came and played for your event in Ibiza.
Yes.
And I still haven't recovered.
I don't think anyone has. I think we've still lost people. They're still there somewhere.
I'll tell you what, the flight back from that was, well, it was, you know, when people say that time seems to have gone quick, but it's going slow, you know, like it's just like a complete contradiction. The flight back, there was a little kid behind me. Now, you can probably imagine the condition I was in on the way back. And I remember walking across, actually, from the apartment that you were in, there was like that wasteland in Ibiza. Walking across that, just feeling very sorry for myself that I had to leave. And then I get on the flight, and this kid behind me had got like, he was like a teddy bear or something, that he was just kind of whacking onto my seat the whole way back.
Oh gosh.
But we got on the flight, and it seemed like we were in the air for like 5 minutes. You know, the next thing we were landing in Manchester, and then I had to get myself home. But that was the night, and I'm not going to mention any names, but the guy from EastEnders, do you remember?
Yes.
Trying to pick a fight with that other kid, and I'm just like, what is this guy? And what amazed me as well, because you know when you watch TV and when you meet people in real life, how much smaller they are.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean, and he was a lot smaller than it. We also bought there's quite a few people over, so this was like the Lashed was like the kind of the brainchild as well with do you remember Roman Tristram, who's my
I was just going to ask you about Roman.
so I mean he's been my friend for nearly 30 years as well, so he's now in Ibiza doing amazing things with CAA artist management, so looking after like top 10 DJs in the world. So he's doing fantastic. But his ideas and his input for like the Lash things, I can't take all credit for that, because he was the one bringing Jordan over and people over and the paparazzi over and stuff to just get it into the papers and stuff. So we didn't really care whether they liked hard house or whatever. We just give them a good time, brought all the cameras over, and that's why I think the Lashed events went kind of like pretty wild, because it was his ideas, just he put them into fruition, and I absolutely love that about him. He's doing the same now with Purple Disco Machine, so I went last month to see him there, and I could just see his input in that, like, and that, what wonderful people that you meet along the way who are so creative. A lot of them don't get the chance to kind of have an output for it, so yeah, I love it when you just see people having that output, allowing that, you know, event to happen, and just you could just see bits of everyone in there. So yeah, they were very successful, and that's why I'm bringing them back, bringing Lash back, aren't I, this year?
Right. Well, actually, one of the questions we've had people asking questions, and Neil asked, "Is Glazby playing at a Lashed event anytime soon?"
Well, 100%.
So,
don't know
putting
it yet.
you on the spot.
Well, I've already asked so Lashed events are myself and Tom from Insomniacs. So I already said I already put you at the top of the list. He went, he's not coming back till 2026. I was like, can we not do a live thing with him?
Well, I might be back. You never know. You know, I'm like Frank Sinatra. I keep saying I've retired, and then I'm back.
No, you can't retire yet, and if you do, it has to be at Lashed event.
Well, I remember I did when you did the Lashed track, and I had the honor of doing the remix on that. That came out really well. I remember. In fact, I listened to it just a few days ago, because me and Ben Stevens are planning a like, obviously I've got all the tracks, you know, like Kick It and Hostile and Beautiful, you know, the ones that people straight away would just say is a Glazby track. But there's a lot of stuff that I did, even stuff that I can't even remember doing it, you know, like it's, and I said to Ben, we should do an album of, you know, like the forgotten classics or you know, just, and hopefully we can license it, because that's one of the ones I want to put on this album.
100%. I mean, the guy that came and did the vocals for that was I met him in Leicester at I used to go clothes shopping at this certain place, and he was there. He was like the shop guy, so he was like, do you ever need anybody to do any vocals on your stuff? I was like, 100%. Got him into the studio in Coventry at Fidget Studios with Barry, and yeah, he laid down loads of stuff. So we actually made 3 tracks out of all the stuff.
Okay.
That he did, but he did drink like 3 Red Bulls before he went in, and just press record. We'll see what happens. We got 3 tracks out of it because he was just like.
So what are your days like? I mean, you said you played Sunday and Friday, so you're obviously still pretty active. But I mean, what's your life sort of?
Well, I kind of had a bit. I don't know whether you know, but in 2018, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So I kind of it really slowed me down, because for one, I didn't know there was anything wrong with me. So I was going out and starting to pass out and stuff, and then I was doing the London to Brighton bike ride, and I literally came. I went out for training and I came back and I was just literally blue. So I went straight to the doctors. And they tested me, and I had type 1 diabetes. So I'm on insulin now. So every day, 8 times a day, I do injections. And it really stopped me, especially going to different time zones, because I wasn't able to work it. You know, it's like you finger pricking all the time, and especially if I went to, say, Australia. Diabetes doesn't know whether it's that time of where you are in the world. It's like you still can have your injections at that time and this time, or you can go into a coma. So it was really difficult for me in 2018. But I was diagnosed a week before I started my Lisa Lash's School of Music. So I've been doing a free school for which is grant funded from the government since 2018. Looking after kids that have been excluded, bringing them to us for a 12-week course, and then putting them back into school, basically, normal school, because nobody wants their child in a alternative provision. They want them to be included in main stage education, really. But and these, you know what, these kids they're just misunderstood, because we've had them from 11 to kids from 11 to university age, or we've had people from up to 79 years old was our oldest kind of student. So we've done over 1,000 people that are free through our school. It's difficult at the moment because obviously the funding and grants and stuff like that is so difficult to do, and you're literally doing them on a daily basis, trying to win money to secure a next cohort. So it has been difficult, but I have employed BK, Anne Savage, Joey Wyatt, MC Wizkid, everybody. They're all the tutors. So it was a real cool kind of thing. We deliver from nightclubs, so people get as soon as they come into the school, that you're not coming into a classroom, you're actually coming into a nightclub. And can you imagine the wow factor? Like, what? Yeah. You got Sarah playing on the decks or something, the glitter balls are going, and the kids are like, what the going on? But 12 weeks later, they're an absolute different child or different person, because they've experienced something that they love. Unfortunately, in education, mainstream education, there's not enough creativeness in there, or music, or like any DJing or any kind of music production kind of stuff. It's like very minimal. So we were giving up something that they really, really loved and enjoyed, and the way it kind of transcended then into, at the end of the 12 weeks, their family would come in and see, they would be so appreciative of us, and also then have a connection with their child through music. Yeah. So it was an all-round amazing thing to do. So I'm going to keep on doing that as much.
And what gave you the idea for that?
So When I got type 1, I kind of went, shit, I'm not going to be able to go around the world DJing anymore. What am I going to do now? I don't want to stop. I didn't know how much it was going to affect me. So I basically went online New Year's Eve on 2017, and I found the guy who wrote the manifesto for the nighttime industries, and I just went to see him, and I just said, how can I get involved in something? This is who I am. So he invited me down and introduced me to the Nighttime Industry Association, where I'm on the board of directors now for that. So, and just having advice for someone saying, well, why don't you come back? Why don't you teach people, go into teaching, go into education and stuff like that? And that's what I did. So within, I think it was 7 weeks, I started a free workshop in Leicester for all the kids to come around. Just got all my friends to bring their decks in and come and do the Saturday morning with me. And then from there, I met a lady, Deborah Hewitt, and she said, do you do funding and grant sale? I said, no. So she was in touch with people who do all that kind of stuff. And in 7 weeks, we got funded. 8 weeks, we opened our events in Northampton. So at the Northampton College. So we just used their space there, and it was amazing. Like 10 tutors, 30 kids came in, and yeah, I smashed it. It was brilliant. And that's
amazing.
Rolling every 12 weeks then. So we've still got stuff going down in London, Tottenham, but the guys that run that now, the teachers and stuff, they don't need me there. They're amazing. Jeremy Wright, thank you. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? Like how, like if we'd have been sat in Ibiza at that time, like there's no way you would have thought that you would have ended up doing what you're doing. No. I certainly wouldn't have thought, oh, I'm doing what I'm doing. But the at least yours are still connected to what you've always done. But like I've got a big issue with school. I hated school. I couldn't wait to leave school, and I kind of faded off at the end. I was always the kid that, the teachers would say, Paul would be the best at anything if he just applied himself.
Yes.
And it's only as I've got older that, people say to me that I must have some kind of ADHD, or because I obsess. I don't think I do. It's other people point it out to me. I don't think I obsess on anything, but other people say, you definitely do. And when I look back, I'm like, oh shit, when I was boxing, I was just, that's all I cared about. And then I got into DJing, and that's all I cared about. And but at school, they weren't offering me anything that I could get obsessed with. So I just,
apply yourself, but if you don't like it, I'm not applying myself to double maths or this or that. I don't want it. That's the kind of thing, isn't it? So I think the creative industry, I think many people have got a certain something like not neurodiversion about it, because we are so creative, we are so hyper focused, like I know exactly all my vinyl, like thousands and thousands of vinyl. I know from the color of the sleeve what it sounds like, that that kind of thing. So there's definitely some extra creativeness that we have, and I'm grateful for that. And that's what we used to do at the school, is trying to find that, handpick that tiny little spark that people had, to try and encourage them to go that way. But mainstream education can't do that. They don't have time. They've got one teacher looking after 30 kids. They can't always look after that one that is, not very happy, maybe, or being challenging. Yeah. So it's difficult.
I mean, I know teachers, and they'll say about how they've got a kid that's, 14. They've got the reading age of a 8-year-old, but they're in that class, and then they're expected to accommodate the lesson for that kid. Then you might have 3 kids in that class that are all struggling in a certain way, but in 3 different ways. And then there's 27 other kids in the class that don't. I mean, it's just bananas, isn't it? When you, and I don't think I was ever one of those 3 kids, but I just certainly would have been one of the 27 just looking. I remember saying to a teacher once, why are we learning this? And the teacher said, because I said so. And I'm like, wrong answer. That's not good enough for me.
No, that's not very good, is it? But I to be honest, truly now with education, I don't think I'd want to be a teacher. Oh my goodness. No. They really do have the work cut out, because they just don't seem to have much support, really, do they? From You know, from when we used to look after the kids. Can you imagine? Like we used to have one, well, probably 30 of them were a little bit naughty, and we had to individually look after them. That must have been quite very challenging for a, you know, a normal setting where something is messing around in the corner and the attention goes over to him. It's really difficult, and they don't have the funds, or maybe they do, but they don't give the funds for them to go out and be able to be assessed and somebody else to kind of look after them a little bit. So yeah, we used to do that. Get them out, come and play something else with us. You know, we could do that as their alternative provision. So yeah, what do you want to do? Play what? Music with BK? No problem. Go in there with Ben. You know, we were able to do that, but they're not allowed to do that at school, really. So
no. Well, that's amazing, love. Well done. I'm impressed. So you just mentioned when you were saying about your insulin shots, you said about Australia. Now, I seem to remember there was a little bit of an episode with you in Australia that went down in the annals of hard house history at the time, scared everybody to death.
It was 2000. Yeah, 2000. I was going over to Australia to play for a tour, and I was going through. Basically got caught in New Zealand with 2 ecstasy pills in my bag. And you know, the only reason my barrister said the only reason I got off with it, which I didn't know they were there, it was just something that happened. There's no way that I would go abroad with drugs in my bag. That would be really silly for me, and so silly for my career. But I went through North Korea on a stopover, where they cut your hands off if they find you with drugs. So I was like, literally did not know they were here, but obviously they're in my bag. I have to own up for that being my bag. And so yeah, it was, and I'm still suffering now. I still can't go to America now, because 25 years later. So even though I've been and tried to sort it out with solicitors, spent tens of thousands of pounds trying to clear that, no, it just doesn't work like that. So yeah, and tell you it was the funniest thing. So I had to go to court over there. Then on the way back, it was, well, obviously 25 years ago, where they used to bring the papers down on the trolley, like the air hostess with the papers, and my face was folded on every front page. So they actually moved me like in the corner so no one could really see me, because I saw the woman like, would you like a paper? You know what I mean? I was like devastated. But as they say, no news is bad news, and my career kind of took a step up from there because I was in all of the papers. And
well, yeah, that's
you know, just be careful out there, kids, because it can ruin your life and career for many years if you're not careful.
Well, I once heading in. So I always thought yours was Australia. Obviously, it was New Zealand. But I was heading to Australia with a friend of mine, Andy Housley, who anyone that's listened to this that knows, the guys in Australia, if I go back now, they still go, how's Andy doing?
Oh, do they?
He left such an impression on everybody. So yeah, Andy's a bit crazy, but amazing guy. And anyway, so we went to Australia. We get there, they pull us aside, they're going through the bags, they separated us so I can see Andy on the other side, and the guy that's with me, he's been real super friendly, you know, oh yeah, this will all be over in a minute, just yeah, everything's fine in your bag, yeah, no worries. And then Andy walks past, but instead of coming to me, they walk him straight past, and the guy that's with him's like looking at my guy, and he said, oh, we've got to take him and strip search him because we've swabbed his bag. So they didn't find anything in his bag, but they swabbed it and they found marijuana, amphetamines, and like heroin or something. Which, I mean, that wasn't Andy's jam, so I don't know why that would have been on the bag, but that's what they said they'd found. So they had to strip search him. So he's walking past, looking obviously not very happy, and I'm laughing at him. And then this guy says to me that because you're traveling together, we've got to do you as well. And then so I had to go into this room and do the full strip search. It was yeah.
I've been on that, done that one before. Oh my gosh, it was so awkward because for a woman, they literally sit you on like a glass table, and they had just this woman like it was terrible. And I didn't know what to do, so I literally sit on the table and she like slides herself underneath. So I just, honestly, it was like, what? And I just didn't really know what to do, so I just waved at her. Like, you know what I mean? I was so embarrassed. Obviously, they didn't find anything because of, it was fine. It was just a bad mistake.
It's like when people sit on a photocopier, a bit like that.
It was terrible. It was like just going under a car, do you know what I mean? On a little wheels. I was like, shit. Great start. And then when I played in New Zealand, because they let me out, I had a bond to let me out. The promoter, who didn't know me at all, just put 50,000 of New Zealand money into it. And then I was under house arrest in New Zealand, and then I had to take 2 policemen had to come with me to the club that when I played the theatre, and it was quite funny because there was loads of posters, free Lisa, and like this kind of thing. And then the two policemen who actually loved Hard House and were having a little dance. They were like, we were coming anyway. So
Really?
stage now, this is great. Yeah, I don't think they liked it when I ran off with the hat, but that was fine. Backed out. Yeah, it was a time of crazy memories.
Yeah, the hedonistic days of Hard House.
They were definitely. They still do, but we try not to do them.
Yeah, just going back to, you okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah, the Insomniacs gig in September. I mean, it was one of those things where Tom had spoken to me about doing it, and maybe it must have been like almost a year before, I think, or a good 9 months or something. And things where they seem like they're a long way away, and then the next thing, like you're there.
Yeah.
And do you remember Scott, who used to work with me at Vicious Circle? Remember Scott Cooper? He used to drive me sometimes, and he managed Vicious Circle for a while. I'm sure you'd know him if you saw him. I'm sure. He always used to be with me. And obviously, I used to see that guy every day. We were best friends for years. But then me moving to Australia, we've not, we speak over message, and but anyway, he came out and he's like, yeah, I'm going to stay out all night. But years ago, he'd be like, I'll be out all night, and then he'd just disappear. Yeah. So we get to the hotel in Nottingham, and I said, mate, here's a key for the hotel. I said, if you want to bail, because I was doing the main event, but then I did the after party as well.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes.
And I thought it's not really fair. We're pushing 50 now, like I expected him to stay out all night. So I said, if you want to go back to the hotel, here's the key. I'll see you there. So we did the main gig. And I mean, I was like, even when I first started DJing, when I was, first starting, I never got nervous. It was just, I don't know why, I just never did. But he said he was nervous for me because he knows that I don't really play very often. So he thought, is Glaz going to be able to remember how to mix, sort of thing. But so we did the gig, then we had to hang around and do the after party. And
is he still there?
Well, no, he was. So that was the thing. So Tom said because Signum was on before me at the after party, but Tom said, look, it's not going to be that busy. It's going to fade off. He said, so instead of doing 2 till 3, no, hold on, what was it? I think I was doing 1:30 till 3. But he said, just tell Signum to come off at 1. You do 1 till 2, and then we'll close at 2. So I'm like, okay, no worries. So I said, mate, like I'll take over. So obviously he was happy. He got early mark. So he gets out. I start playing. Built my set up to finish at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Can't see Tom anywhere. No one from Insomniacs is there. I can't find Scott. The girl at the side that's doing, and the dance floor's full.
Oh gosh.
So I turned to this girl and I went, are we closing at 2? She went, no, 3. I'm like, oh no. I had to then go, like I'm pulling all the old Karim stuff out. I had to go from where I was at 2 o'clock and keep it going for another hour. And then the lights came on and Scott's there. Like I'm like, it was amazing.
Bless him.
But you said, so you working with Tom on Lash, that's actually news to me. So how's that all come about?
Well, I kind of wanted to do something again, so go back into making some tracks and stuff, coming out of the School of Music a little bit, because it's kind of like doing its own thing. And now I wanted to do a few more gigs. I wanted to make some tracks, making some with Xander Club, who's amazing. Maddox, I've made some stuff for as well, with as well. And it was like, well, I need to play them out now. So you could, you know, I didn't know what was out there that could sustain me kind of doing 2 or 3 gigs a month. So I thought, right, okay, let's start building up Lash. So I spoke to Tom about it because I'm playing with Tom anyway for Insomniacs.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he said or I said, but we're like, let's explore doing something then. So our first event is September the 13th at the Emporium in Coville. So back to we started off the first one that we did there in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, and the only thing is, it's quite difficult because we are a small pool of musicians and hard house and stuff, and I want it predominantly hard house. The trouble is, like, everyone's playing everywhere. So how do you make those people kind of exclusive to you? I don't want to do that. I'm not about monopolizing people, but where do you find the artists to come and play for you that aren't playing down the road or, you know, next to the pier and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we're just going through people at the moment. Right. Obviously you were on the list, but you might not be back by...
Let's see what we can work out. Let's see what we can work out. So it's always good to come back and see my dad.
Was he over here? Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's still in Sheffield, yeah.
Fair play. Cool. Yeah, well, we love it. Like, everybody wants you to play anyway, don't you? Hard House is synonymous with a few people, and you're definitely one up there with the top.
Oh, thanks, Lo.
Yeah, you're very well.
Well, you know what? When you people like you, and when I watched Paul Maddox when he was on the Tidy Boys show, and I got mentioned a couple of times on that, and there was I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but when I did my 10-hour set, when my retirement set at the Emporium,
yes,
I did so Jimmy Dean said to me, you know, who do you want on before, who do you want on after? And the one thing that I'd never done that I always wanted to do was a 10-hour set. I'd done a couple of 8-hour sets, but I'd never, because obviously trying to do a 10-hour set, most clubs aren't open for that long. You know, like they normally open at 10 and close at 6. You've only got 8 hours. So yeah, we opened at 8, closed at 6, and I just played all night. And the next day, I got a text message from E&M. Now, obviously, E&M, I love the guy, but you know, he's what's the word? He's like a bitchy queen, isn't he? You know, like for such a big burly man, like. But everything he says is in jest, you know, like it's not like he's not nasty, but he just says things and you go, oh, God. And that's just how he is. That's just Uncle Ian, you know. But he sent me this text message, which I wish I still had. Obviously I've changed phones, and it was like, you should be so proud of yourself. You know, you came into the scene, you've done all this, and I started crying reading it, because I learned to DJ by going and watching his hands while he was, you know, like I was trying to decipher what his hands were doing there to what I was hearing on the dance floor, or like at the side of the DJ box. Him, Andy Farley, Steve Thomas, and then and obviously, like I said, you were Lisa Lashes before I, you know, became any, you know, like you were a big name getting into it. So yeah, hearing it's warms my heart, Lisa. Warms my heart.
For that. No, it's true. Like when I put it on the socials, like I'm doing podcasts with you, the people are like, yeah, like ask him to do this, like we love Paul. So yeah, you've got loads of support out there for sure.
Well, we've got a few questions.
Yes.
The public has spoken. We've actually asked a couple already. Let's have a look here. So Oliver wants to know, what is the most memorable part of your career? You can't say New Zealand because we've done that one already.
Yeah, can't do that one. Memorable part. Well, hopefully it's good memories. There's so many, isn't there? You know, having a career of nearly 30 years, the most memorable part is, I suppose, having people still dance to you, sort of like 1 hour, 2 hour sets, and being on the dance floor and giving you that energy still after all these years. That's pretty. I'm so grateful for that. Like, who has a career that's nearly 30 years old, really, in the music business? It's not it's been absolute pleasure. Sometimes it's been like kind of like hard or whatever, but that's the yin and yang of everything, isn't it? The duality. So yeah, it's still been. I'm just grateful to still be out there doing stuff. Really.
Yeah. Well, it's like a boxer. You know, you're only as good as your last fight, and I think in being a DJ, it's like you're as good as your last set. You know, like and your memories are as good as your last. Like one of my, I mean, like I said, the Insomniacs gig in September was incredible. But the last time I played in England before that, and I played in Australia a few times while I've been here, and I mean, you know, most gigs, there's not many gigs you do that you go, oh God, you know, like it's always, even if there's only a few people there, you know, like the energy you get from those people. I played in a little club in Manchester, and it was like you could touch the ceiling, you know, it was, and the DJ, you know, like the people were, you could reach out, you know, they could reach across and touch the decks if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was just that energy of probably 300 people, but just being there and them reacting, not to the tracks. And I was talking about this with Dave the drummer last week, about when people react to the mix.
Yeah.
You know, like when they can kind of hear the next track coming in.
Yeah.
And they react to that, because then you know that it's an educated crowd. You know, it's not just people that are there for a night out. They're there because of the music, you know. So that's
no, it is different, isn't it? Because people do hear you mix and you drop the bass out, you do this, and they're like, like, how do you know what I'm doing? They just so know the tracks and stuff now. They know what goes in. They know how people mix. So it gives you a lot of energy when it's like that. I love it.
Elliot asked, who are your favorite artists at the moment?
Oh, okay.
And let's open this up. Let's not even make it sort of hard house or dance. Like what does Lisa like to listen to on a Sunday afternoon?
I don't mind a bit of tech house, you know.
Okay.
Joseph Capriati. Obviously like some techno as well, like Carl Cox. Love him. And also, so some of my tutors for the school there's two brothers called Sonny and Finn, and they're Murphy's Law. They're just doing amazing stuff. They did, they'll do like some bootlegs and stuff, but then they did a bootleg of Christina Aguilera, and she allowed it to go onto Ministry Sound label. So they're kind of going all around the world. They couldn't be teachers anymore because they were too busy. But I always said that anyway to the teachers: look, your career is your career. If that's the case, then you So Murphy's Law, absolutely love those. They're doing just some fantastic stuff. And I've got to say, my other girls that have been through the school. So Charlotte Van der Peer, she's literally smashing the whole of the London scene. Adriana, she came to our Northampton school. She's warmed up for Carl Cox and Bayer and people like that. And she couldn't really even DJ. So none of them could really have DJ'd before they came to us. They had a little bit of knowledge. Our 12-week course kind of like makes them pretty much superstars, not just given that confidence and where to go to be a producer and stuff like that. So
the direction, and
Lubo Hang, who's one of our really cool girls from Manchester. I had a phone call from the guy who runs Circo Loco saying, can you put my friend in? She's from Mexico. I was like, well, she's not got any free grant funding for her, but just for you and a couple of guests, I'll do it. And she's absolutely smashing Colombia, Peru, Mexico and stuff, like just all over the scene now. So for me, it's so heartwarming to see that, where they come into to the school and then I see them on a lineup with massive professional kind of big headliners and stuff. So they're my favorite people at the minute, the people that have come through the school, because I've seen how hard they've worked, you know, to get to where they are. So
well, and it's also like I'm not saying you like it because of this, but I mean, it must be gratifying that they're where they are because of something that you put in place to let them channel what they're doing. I mean, that's just
I never thought when we started doing the school that we'd I knew that the lessons that we taught were amazing and the teachers and stuff were absolutely fantastic. I mean, who wouldn't want to be taught by BK and Rob Tissera and Savage and stuff? So when people used to come onto the course, they'd be like walking around into the little cafe area going, there's so, and what an absolute fantastic kind of like thing to open up to people to do that. And yeah,
well, because normally you would get to school and you think your teacher's a wanker. If you get there and your teacher's BK, you'd be like,
like that. What do you know? Well, I know quite a lot, actually.
yeah, exactly.
So I used to love it. Like, so Joey Riot one time shut the whole class up because they were like, "What do you know about traveling?" And blah, blah. He went, "Was actually in Australia last weekend. Here's the pictures of it." They're like, "Oh,
exactly." Yeah.
Like, yeah. They're like, "Wow." So yeah, it gives them a different insight to the world as well, because they're all thinking that their only place to be earning money and big money and stuff was probably doing illegal things,
Yeah.
But then when they found out, okay, the music business, I could actually have a life without looking behind my back and being invested or something. So yeah, it's been great to be able to put that together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Hakan said, when did you feel like you'd made it? When was the first time you sort of thought, I'm a DJ?
I did see that question, and I kind of like was thinking about it. I think when I played my first festival was, when you're the whole, what it's like with festivals, with clubs, you kind of go there and with your mates and stuff like that, whatever. And it's a few hour thing. But I think when you get booked for a festival, it's a whole new scenario. You're there with your mates, you're all excited, you've got your VIP bands, it's all beautiful backstages and people looking after you. I think it was when I played at Homelands. I think that was about 99, 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I thought, wow, like there's, I think there's about 9,000 people in that tent, and all chanting my name and stuff, and it was amazing, like that amazing kind of thing. But also Sundissential, like in the clubs and stuff, people coming to see you all the time.
Yeah.
I never really thought to myself what made it now, kind of like flick my shoulder. I'm always so humble, and sort of even seeing a dance floor that still wants to come and see me, like I'm truly grateful for that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something I've always sort of, the thing is in, and I've said this a few times, but I think the fans sort of think that all the DJs are all, I get people asking me, what's Andy Whitby like, or what's this person like? And I'm like, I don't know them, like you see them for a minute as you're passing, but you don't really get spend that. Obviously I've had the chance to spend some time with you, and we've seen each other lots over the years. Maddox, I've spent more time with him than anybody because of the studio. Ben Stevens, obviously we used to work together. But yeah, like you've just always been super nice, like when you could have easily just been snooty, like it would have been easy for someone in your position, like I said, with the entourage and just, just being Lisa Lashes, it could have easily gone to your head, but you just never did.
Council estate in Coventry, one parent family, like I'm always grateful for everything. I was on school dinners and didn't know, my mum struggled really, so I'll always be humble because I know where I started from. A lot of people don't know anything about me, but that's, I lived in a poverty kind of council estate really in office area of Coventry, and went to school straight away when I was 17, moved over to Nuneaton, worked at Marks and Spencer's, and then 8 years after working there, I had the opportunity to play at the weekends, and I thought I'd go for it. So many people at M&S are like, "Oh, but you're going to lose your pension. It's going to be like this. What are you doing that for? That's not a career." And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't listen to them. And now it's a pound shop in Nuneaton, Marks and Spencer. So I'm very glad that I kind of.
I'll tell you what, if you bumped into any of the 54-year-old women that were at Marks and Spencer's, I bet they don't look anything like you.
I don't think I've seen any of them since. I'm not sure. That's quite funny though. Yeah, no. So sometimes you just have to. I suppose I followed my dream, didn't I? And it worked out. And if it hadn't, then it's just what it is. What it is. And a lot of people get scared of not thinking the creative industries is a career or a business, and it's massive. Like the nighttime industries is like the 5th biggest earner. What is it? £91 billion they bring in the UK. So it's pretty large. So when people still go, "Oh, what, you're still doing that music thing?" It's like, Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. It's my life. It is my life. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's when you were saying about sneaking back to the house and having a sneaky mix, but that's similar to, I mean, I basically saved up and bought the decks, and I didn't tell anybody that I had decks or that I was learning to mix. I
Okay.
just did it in secret. And then one day, and because I used to sit and just watch all these, which in hindsight, I mean, they were all terrible, but just the fact that they could get up and even have a go,
Yeah.
I was sort of super jealous that,
Yeah.
and so I got the decks, used to buy records in secret, and then I taught myself to mix. And then one day at an after party, I'm like, oh, can I have a go? And I could just do it, and everyone's like, what the fuck? but, but
Exactly.
I never thought, like you never thought you'd get. I mean, obviously you've had, your career has been next level, but doing what we were doing to just try and learn to mix and play a couple of gigs, but then it just goes on and on and on, and you take the opportunities that come your way and you keep building on it, and then
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I remember about going to, I told you about that pound shop. So I bought two Susie Carr All Over Me, the cowboy mix, and I just mixed it in one to the other, one to the other for hours and hours and hours, different places, different places. But I could literally mix straight away. And it was, it was, I kept thinking to myself, is this right? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? So the guy who had the decks, Baz, hi Baz, his girlfriend, she was like, yeah, go on there, push the boys off, like get on there like that. So one time she did, she was like that, right, let Lisa go. And they were like, what for? And I just went on and started mixing stuff, and they were like throwing me drum and bass and house music and this and that, tried to interrupt me, but I could just mix it in. I was like, is that right? They were like, yeah. So yeah, it just kind of started from there. No, at no point did I want a career or think about a career. It literally just happened. And I was at the right place at the right time. Boat party, got my tunes. There you go. You got to wait. You got to be prepared for any eventuality where you always take your USB, always take your headphones. I mean, on Friday, a young girl, Grace, it was one of my sister's friends who up in Liverpool, and she came to the club on Friday, and she bought a USB, and I said, do you want to come and play after me? And she was like, what, I can? I was like, I'm sure the promoter won't mind. And one of her friends was playing after me as well. I was like, well, why don't you go back to back or whatever, or have a little go? She's like, oh my God. I was like, so that's what it's all about, is be prepared for any eventuality. I've got gigs from taking USBs and headphones and stuff because somebody hasn't turned up. So you just got to be prepared with all your music. If you want to go for that kind of thing, then you've always got to be prepared.
And like the Boy Scouts, always be prepared.
Exactly.
And I mean, obviously the lashed events, that's going to be like the next big thing for you, I guess.
So
and how often are these going to be? Are they going to be like in different places so that you can?
Yeah. Well, for the 30 years, I'd like to do one lashed a month. I don't think Tom knows this yet. It will soon. One a month, sort of like going down the country, like Scotland, like everywhere down to Wales, Ireland, and stuff, which we did the lash parties anyway. So we're just going to get that package together. So we've got even if wherever we do it at Coval or whatever, you'll get that kind of visual and everything. The good sound systems and everything there, and visuals and everything. So and just go out there and create some nice energy. That's what I'm thinking.
Amazing. Well, hopefully at some point I can get involved, but I'm sure it'll be a massive success. I think there's not really much you've touched over the last 30 years that's not turned to gold. So
look, it's amazing, really, isn't it? It really is. I'm so grateful for it. So, and I think it is because if you are a good person and you do good, then it comes back to you, and it really does. I've never really been a horrible person, or I've always tried to include people, or do new things. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I'm still doing it, talking to you all the way from Australia. Amazing.
And we're very grateful too. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I mean, it's going to be a big deal for the podcast. Having Lisa Lashes on is definitely a big deal. So yeah, I appreciate your time, and It's been awesome to catch up. I've learned a few things. I thought I knew quite a bit about Lisa Lashes, but I didn't.
Doing things in the background, haven't I? People don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's keep in touch. I think that's another nice thing off the back of doing the podcast. It's reignited, the connections with people, and yeah, like me and Rob to Sarah, since we did the episode a few weeks ago, we message, every few days we've been keeping in touch. So
reinstate things as well, doesn't it? Because everyone has a busy life. It's nice to kind of come back to where it all started as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Around you. Sure.
Well, thanks, darling.
You are very
let's try and, in fact, that's what we should do. Let's try and do it again after you've done the last tour, and we can see how it all went.
I would love that. That would be fantastic. Thank you for allowing me to have a chit chat to you this morning.
Nice. All right, darling. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, Lisa. Bye, darling. Okay, so we just go to get the recording. Should only take a